Welcome to my presentation on Torchlight, an application developed by Runic Games Incorporated. My name is Nazan Nasario. Nice to meet you. So using various theories explained in the first 5 chapters of the book written by Michael Woodridge, An Introduction to Multi-Agent Systems, I will analyze and discuss the agents and environment within Torchlight. So just a brief introduction on what I will be discussing in this presentation. I will first introduce the Torchlight application and explain the background of it. Then I'll discuss the following 5 questions as main topics of my presentation. Number 1. What is the purpose of the application and what problem does it solve? Number 2. Why was multi-agent methodology employed in the solution? Number 3. What is the purpose of the individual agents in this application? Number 4. What are interesting aspects of its implementation? And number 5. How is it intended and/or how could this application evolve in the future? So to start off, I would like to introduce the application. Torchlight was first released on October 27, 2009 by Runic Games. So what exactly is Torchlight? I would like to quote the exact words written on their website to answer this question. And I quote, "Torchlight is an action role-playing game for the PC made by the creators of Diablo, Fate, and the never-released Mythos, among other games. Set in the mining town of Torchlight, players will adventure to uncover the mysteries of the Ember Mines. It offers a fully featured character leveling system, randomized dungeons, hordes of monsters, and gobs of great loot." On this side you can see a screenshot of Torchlight, along with some of its agents and environment. You can see by the quality of the graphics that it's a fairly recent made application, and the interactions between the agents are fairly complex and dynamic. In fact, I actually quite like this game. So the first question I have decided to discuss is, what is the purpose of the application and what problem does it solve? Now I explained a bit in the background behind the game during the introduction, but I would like to explain in my own terms what Torchlight purpose is and the problem it solves, or in other words, why do we have it? Torchlight is an application designed for entertainment. People take the role of a hero, selected from the free classes or free types, Destroyer, Alchemist, or Vanquisher, and play alongside a game scenario. In this case, the game is based around the story of the town of Torchlight and a mineral called Ember, which contains raw magical energy, but brings hordes of monsters to the mines. You can find out more about the game's background from their website. But using agent methodology, this game provides a game environment that is full of life and fairly intelligent agents. So in summary, it's a game that's designed to reflect the real world, but twisted to form a fantasy-based scenario. The question is, why was multi-agent methodology employed in the solution? The main reason that multi-agent methodology was implemented in this application is so the game gives a similar reflection to the real world. In order to give the game characters life, multi-agent methodology was used, and thereby enriches the interactions between the player and the units within the game. These are triggered by events in the dynamic environment. The environment is generated randomly, and so no single game world or area is the same. But we'll explain more about the environment later on. Okay, number 3. Let's discuss the purpose of the individual agents in the application. But first, what exactly is an agent? Agents are systems capable of independent action in order to meet its design objectives and interact with the environment. So by this definition, the following are agents within the application. Pets, which are units constantly supporting the player. Minions, which are units that are summoned by the player to either defend the player or kill enemy monsters. Free monsters, units that attack the player and supporting units. There are different types of monsters. And finally, story NPC, non-playable characters, interactive units that are associated with an event, such as an item seller or quest starter. Let's examine these agents a little more in detail. So to start off, pets. So as we said, the pets are units that constantly support the player, but are limited to health and not time. So if you can see the cat on the right, in that image, that's an example of a pet. So pets can behave aggressively, attack any and all units nearby, enemy units nearby, or they can act defensively to defend the player. And that's depending on the behavior the player has set for them initially. So that allows them to deliberate when to attack or to do an action instead. Pets also have a pathing system which allows them to determine how to move and follow the player. They can also run away when on low health. Pets are an example of what Woodridge defines as a deductive reasoning agent. They're not so complex, but they can decide when to attack, how to move, what series of actions that they need to do in order to best reach their objective. And then next is minions. Minions are similar to pets. They're summoned by the player to defend the player or kill monsters. If you look on the left, there's 3 blue imps, 2 in the middle and 1 on the bottom right. So they have a timed life, but they're not health based. Oh well, they do have health as well, but they do only have a small duration. Okay, monsters. So monsters are the units that attack the player and supporting units. The skeletal warriors and the ogre on the right are examples of what monsters look like. There's different types of monsters and they have different kinds of behaviors. Like for example, there are melee units, ranged monsters, individual and packs, chaser, flee prone, collidable, summoner, etc. They have the same coding, but their behaviors are impacted by the states they are pre-programmed in. So to some level they are reactive agents. They watch for changes in the environment, such as a player walking into the field or field of vision, and they act accordingly. But they do have a certain level of deliberation which takes into account when they use the pathing system to move, use their various skills, and which unit or player to attack. The story NPC, which are interactive units that are associated with an event. For example, the item seller, which trades items for money, and the quest starters, which initiate tasks for the players and gives rewards. These are very simple agents which communicate in a sense by trading items or information. So moving on to number 4, what are the interesting aspects of its implementation? So one of the most interesting aspects of Torchlight is the way that the agents deal with the randomly generated environment. The environment, in words that Michael Woodridge has explained, is that it's inaccessible, non-deterministic, continuous, and dynamic. So I'll explain these so it's much more easier to understand. Inaccessible means that the agent cannot obtain complete, accurate, current information about the environment. Because the environment within Torchlight is so big, no single agent can get all the information within the environment. They only have a limited sphere of information. So the next one, non-deterministic, is linked to that. They have a limited sphere of influence. They can't get all the information in the environment, so they only have a little amount of interactions they can have because they don't know what's beyond their sphere of influence. And then continuous. So continuous means doesn't have a finite set of actions and percepts. For example, a chessboard has a limited number of moves that you can actually do. But within Torchlight, it's kind of like the real world where an agent can do multiple things, and so there are quite a lot of actions that they can do. And lastly, dynamic. So it changes not only because of the agent. There are other agents that affect the environment, and also parts of the environment that like blow up or change based on time, and so it changes quite a bit. And then another point is the behavior of the pets and the minions. So after initial behavior settings are set, the pets and minions coordinate between each other to kill enemies and protect the player. So for example, if the player is getting attacked, the pets and the minions need to coordinate whether they want to keep attacking or if they want to come back, help the player, and protect him. And then the last point over here is users can actually implement their own agent design via editor. So there's an inbuilt editor function within Torchlight that allows users to come up with their own agent design and behaviors, and they can set how monsters behave or minions behave. And yeah, that's quite interesting. Number 5, how is it intended, and or how could this application evolve in the future? So currently this game is only designed for a single user, but Runic Games are currently designing Torchlight 2, which will be an MMORPG, or massively multiplayer online role-playing game. Quite a handful, that one. But this will allow multiple players, and thus NPC character coding will be needed to deal with such. The game could be improved also by using better interaction code. Right now you can see that the agents are very basic. Their behaviors don't allow them to coordinate their attacks as well. And perhaps in the future we might see the monster 8 units be able to work together, cast spell combinations, and even have strategies to move and attack, or attack from a distance and retreat, things like that. So it's quite, it has quite a leeway to develop and become better in the future. Okay, well, that's all for my presentation for this day. I hope you enjoyed it and have learned quite a bit. Thank you.